Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Is Cool podcast, the coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. I'm Santi, that's Sancho. We're off the backs of Crown Jewel. Sancho, how you feeling about the show? How you feeling about Saudi Arabia as a whole so far?
Oh, how dare you, sir, skim over the fact that it is the Megatron. I prove to you once again, rewind the tape, check the VOD, go back in time, get in your little DeLorean there, Santi, because always say, oh, Bronson Reed needs to win. Bronson Reed's going to win. Nah. Seth Rollins gets it up, and by far the best result of the entire Crown Jewel, Santi. My man, the megastar, the one and only LA Knight, arguably maybe having the best match of the night, the show stealing, the BFT dropping, the triple threat winning, United States title having, LA Knight, baby. I'm feeling great. The factory is at an all-time high. Would you like a job at the Glaze Factory?
What would be the job? What would my job at the Glaze Factory be?
You would be the honorary taste tester.
Oh, no, I'm not tasting the glaze.
Come on.
No.
No. But, I think overall I would give Crown Jewel just the initial 7.5. It was a pretty solid event.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I think the complaints that we had about Crown Jewel ended up being correct, right? The things that we thought were going to feel like they were non-canon events did end up feeling like non-canon events. I don't think that the WWE did a particularly great job at making the aftermath of Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax, as well as Gunther versus Cody Rhodes, feel like it's important, like the result mattered. Everything else, however, did feel canon. That triple threat, Sancho, you're talking about how LA Knight won. We all won. We're the real winners because that match was bloody fantastic. I have now added that match to be at the very top list, at the very top of the list of matches that I show non-wrestling fans. Under 10 minutes, incredibly fast-paced, fluid, an electric crowd. The fact that it's a triple threat, too, that is one of those triple threats where all three guys were basically in the match the entire time. My favorite type of triple threat matches. That match, Sancho, not only was it the best match of the night from a technical point of view, it's in contention for me as a top 5 match of the year. I'm not kidding. It is that high for me. There's something special for me when a match can figure it out in under 10 minutes. When you don't need to overstay your welcome, when you don't need to overdo it, where it can just deliver a strong and impactful message in under 10 minutes. To me, it's so difficult to land that, right? It's much easier when you have 20, 25 minutes to have a great match. You have a lot more time to do it, but to do it in under 10, I feel like there's a fine craft to it, and they nailed it. It is the best under 10-minute match that I've ever seen. It is now better, in my opinion, than Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle SummerSlam 2002. I adored that match.
God. You've been promoted, my boy.
Yeah, I'm no longer the taster.
Glazer. You're the master glazer now. Wow.
I'm just master glazing all over the place.
Yeah, dude, you're like,
look at the shirt. Look at the shirt.
It looks big. It looks like way backwards. But dude, wow, master glazing to start wrestling is cool. What dimension did I travel through? What timeline am I in, brother? Who is the Santi in front of me?
Look, I appreciate game. Game is game. That match was fantastic. The other matches are great too. Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. You know what? You could gloat about being right, but you're gloating about the worst possible result. Bronson Reed should have won. Bronson Reed should have won.
Monday Night Raw. What are you not after Monday Night Raw? Dude?
Bronson, you could have still done this. Bronson Reed should have won. You could have had, dude, you literally could have just swapped the places. You could have Bronson Reed in the Fatal 4-Way and have Seth Rollins cost him the match, and then we could go into game 2. It's the same thing. Bronson Reed should have won.
My guy. This is.
I'm not your guy.
Yes, you are. This is Batman Begins, brother. This is Batman Begins. All right, Batman may have got the dub in game 1, but the game 2, the Joker comes out, and all things have changed, brother.
Yeah,
we're gonna get it.
And then in what, game 3, Ra's al Ghul has a daughter we never knew about, and then the fire rises. They're expecting one of us in the wreckage, brother.
Bronson Reed's about the tsunami, so they're expecting someone in the tsunami, bro. Dude, he came out on Monday Night Raw and tsunami'd everybody in Oblivion. He tsunami'd the entire #1 contenders, brother. He proved that he's a monster. Destroyed Sheamus. Destroyed Damian Priest. Ah, come on, man.
No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I
destroyed Seth Rollins. Come on.
It was great. It was great. Look,
it was great.
It was wonderful. It was great. I know tsunamis. I'm the best at tsunamis.
Jeez, I don't know. You know, here in the States, by the time this is available in free services around the world.
Yeah, it might be the start of the Purge, as far as we know, in the United States of America.
I want Bronson Reed in my corner. Question: top 5 wrestlers you would want in a Purge situation?
Okay, before I do that, I'm going to tell you right now, with how much you roast Canada, if the United States goes into a Purge situation, not allowed in the Canada train. Not allowed. You cannot come north of the border. You're not allowed. All right, just not allowed. You have to ride it out in the United States or go to Mexico. Not allowed.
Wow. I was just doing pro wrestling trades and you were like, this is serious.
Not allowed in the Canada train, all right? Unless I'm allowed on the New Day train.
Wow. I don't want to leave people out. The Purge is a movie series, a lot of movies from The Purge, where one day out of the year, the government allows murder 187s all over the place. They allow you to do that, and you won't get in trouble. So this is a day where you let out all your violence. And not only the people, the commoners, but the upper echelons let it all out. And there are people that have their own little shelters and things of that sort. So going back to the question I had at hand, 5 wrestlers you could survive the Purge with.
Okay.
So you go first and I go first.
Sure. I feel like we need to be a little bit more thoughtful about this. There are several things that you need in the Purge. You don't just need violence. I feel like you need the gift of gab as well. You need to be able to talk people down. You need to be able to convince other people to do things. You need to be able to trick people into certain situations. So
you need a yapper.
You need a yapper. I'm taking Paul Heyman. I am taking Paul Heyman.
Wow.
Look,
Paul Heyman, #1 pick.
He, physically, like if we're talking RPG stats, his stamina, strength, all is low, but I feel like the charisma level is so high that it can be beneficial in the Purge.
Oh, okay. That's your #1 pick.
That's my #1 pick. I feel like there's so much muscle in the WWE, but not enough gift of gab as good as Paul Heyman.
Okay. What I need you to do is I need you to get a box. All right. You pull out that box, right? Put my address on it. You're going to ship this box to me. And put every single one of these person's shirts. I picked John Cena. You are an idiot. The #1 pick is John Cena because he is the best. He never backs down. He never gives up. He is hustle.
He's going to put you in danger.
No,
he's going to try and help some Make-A-Wish kids. He's going to go into orphanages and try and save all of these children. You're putting yourself in the light of fire by having Cena on your team. It's a mistake. You already sold. Mistake. Mistake. There's going to be people wounded. He's going to be wanting to help them. Meanwhile, you could be getting sniped in the process. Mistake. No. That's actually, dude, you're dead.
I'm picking Superman.
You're dead.
I literally thought you'd be like, John Cena's going to throw you in front of everybody and bury you. #2. What's your #2 pick?
I'm taking the cerebral assassin Triple H. I need somebody that can go and do the nasty stuff. And there's very few people. There's very few people that could do the dirty deed needed in order to be able to survive the Purge. And if I know Triple H, and I know Triple H, I know the game, that guy can do some pretty heinous things. He's maybe done some of the worst things ever in professional wrestling history. I'm taking Triple H to help me survive the Purge thing.
All right. My second pick, Kane, the big red machine, brother. That guy, an all-star in the Royal Rumbles. This guy's not afraid of anything. This dude survived his house burning down, his own brother causing the fire, coming out from hell and brimstone. Kane's my second pick.
That's a bad pick. It's a bad pick. It's a bad pick. It's a bad pick. Dude, first of all, he's in a mask. You need peripheral vision. This is you are not thinking about a proper purge situation. You need to be thinking survival.
I'm good. I'm good so far. I'm picking the muscle right at the gate.
Cool. All right. I'm taking bald Randy Orton. All right. I'm still needing more.
He's going to turn on you. He'll turn on you in a second. RKO you for a can of beans. That's what he'll do.
Well, this isn't an apocalypse. It's one night. You know, we're not trying to survive off a can of beans here.
Hey, one night, bam, RKO you out of nowhere.
I'm taking bald Randy. Viper.
Bald Randy.
The
legend killer. The legend killer Randy.
Yeah, I'm taking the worst version of Randy Orton in terms of human psychology.
Okay. I'm thinking here. This is a very important pick because now we're getting to the back half. Back half, I am going to go with Mick Foley.
I like this. I like this.
Never can take pain, could tank a lot, seen a lot, not afraid of dangerous situations. Probably will jump in front of a zombies if there ever got to that point of the purge. I'm sure there's a purge of the zombies. Have I seen them all? No. But the purge, Mick Foley would be the guy, and he would always tell me to have a nice day.
I like that. Yeah. I'm going to take Bronson Reed. After this man cannot be held down, he took 4 stomps, and this guy keeps getting back up. This guy's a monster. He's unstoppable. Give me Bronson Reed on my Purge team. By the way, my Purge team's killing yours. If our Purge teams run into each other, you're so dead.
No, not at all.
You know why? So. Here's why you're done. All right.
Why?
Okay. Your ace is John Cena, right? You know what's going to happen? Randy Orton's going to find a little girl, gonna punt that little girl, and Cena's going to want to help that little girl. In the process,
in
Minecraft.
In Purge theory.
In Purge Minecraft theory. A game theory, R.I.P. Matt Pat.
But he's not dead. He's just retired. Jesus, every time. Okay, I'm just telling you, Paul. You got 2 people that will turn on you, brother. You got Paul Heyman and Randy Orton, brother.
You need the evil on this night. You're taking the good. Like, why?
I'm not taking the good. I have the big red machine.
He's good. He's a good guy.
He's not. All right. My 4th pick is going to be a very controversial pick. CM Punk. He is my gift of the gab, but he has some muscle behind that gab. And he could talk his way out of any situation. And he looks like a Negan, dude. You know?
Sure.
He got that slick back hair. He will cause problems, dude. And he will make those tough decisions that John Cena won't make.
But see, they feud against each other. They're going to take each other out.
It doesn't matter.
Take each other out.
They're good. Who's your last pick to survive the purge in the WWE universe?
With my last pick, give me Nia Jax. I'm going to bring some extra diversity, bring a female into the group, but one that can do damage. You want to know why? All right. Because what happens, all right, if we get attacked by a group of violent women? Morality in me would be like, you can't hit them, but Nia Jax will. Nia Jax will take them out. See, I'm thinking every single possible scenario here, Sancho. You're playing chess. I'm playing 30-dimensional chess. I'm so many moves ahead of you here.
And my 5th pick is Rhea Ripley. I survived.
You just said that because I came up with that.
No, too late.
All right. Wow.
Again, you decide in the comments. Santi's teams, Paul Heyman, Triple H, Randy Orton, Bronson Reed, Nia Jax. My team, John Cena, Kane, Mick Foley, CM Punk, and Rhea Ripley.
Boo.
I would lose in the Purge 100%.
Okay.
I would not survive.
I wouldn't either. I would not either.
I've always had these scenarios of like apocalyptic scenarios, and I always said a Walmart. That'd be the best place to survive one. 100%.
Yeah, but that's what everybody's thinking. You can't go to all. You can't. You know what you just said? You just basically said, "Let me drop and tilt the towers." You're cooked. You're done.
or Warzone Superstore. That's one of those battle royale jokes. But yes, Bronson Reed. I like that pick. Bronson Reed. Have you ever seen anyone being built up so quickly and so perfectly?
Oh yeah,
as a heel.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar, but like that's like the extreme example from 2002. But it's been a while since we've seen. I think it's it's not the same, right? Because Brock Lesnar came in as a blank slate. We were told off the get-go what Brock Lesnar was. Bronson Reed, on the other hand, has baggage of like losing matches, losing feuds. He's got a history on the main roster that's already there. There's already a preconceived notion of what a Bronson Reed is. Brock Lesnar never had that, right? Brock Lesnar was debuted, monster, pushed to the moon. But it has been interesting to see the reconstruction of Bronson Reed from a dude that's just sort of surviving in the mid-card, hovering around, could be dangerous, could take some losses, not really pushing the envelope, to from the day after SummerSlam, just getting elevated week after week after week. And what's neat is that we're seeing the rise of Bronson Reed through his actions, not through storylines telling us that we need to fear him, that he's this dangerous bad man. They're putting him in physical situations where he's proving it, right? So as the kids would say, he's standing on business, Sancho. And as he stands on business, the more that he stands on it, the more I'm convinced that Bronson Reed is not going to Nakamura this situation. That Bronson Reed is going to become a perennial in the main event for the rest of his career if the cards are played right. And so far, WWE has just been full house after full house every single time whenever Bronson Reed gets put in front of us. They are absolutely crushing it in the reworking and reconstruction of the character known as Bronson Reed. And I personally love the match in Saudi Arabia. I thought it was fantastic. Again, I still think that Bronson Reed should have won, but it's not the end of the world because this is not over, clearly. But 2-0 would end this, and 2-0 would definitely bring Bronson Reed down a couple pegs. Can we agree that Bronson needs to win this one?
I think Bronson definitely needs to win this one, but the WWE has proven they have the ability to make him still feel like a monster coming off an L really successfully. I have a prediction for you, though. In the Royal Rumble, I think Bronson Reed is going to pull a 96 Vader spot. For those of you who know, I've been watching Royal Rumble in review on Patreon, which I've been watching it intently to rank them. We are on 2002 Royal Rumble, so we have 11 episodes for you to watch if you join the Patreon. And in that Royal Rumble, I believe, and I may have the year wrong, but there was one Rumble where Vader takes out everybody, gets thrown out, but he goes back into the ring, and then he throws everybody out. Yeah. I think Bronson Reed would be a perfect spot for that, to show that he can win, and he has the ability to take people out. And it's usually when it comes down to, it almost feels like it's luck that people beat him. I feel like Seth Rollins beat him by luck, by using his guile, and he was able to trip him, and he fell, and he cut himself open on the stairs, and then he did the curb stomp. I think what I liked on a standpoint of Seth Rollins saying that you should have beat me when you had the chance, that if Bronson Reed just covered him after the first tsunami, then Seth Rollins would have lost. So there's some really cool things that they got ins and outs of Bronson Reed. I think the best part about it is they use this PLE moment to splinter him into a new stratosphere as a dangerous monster. If he didn't squash everybody on Monday Night Raw of the number one contender, I still would hold him as a high regard, because Seth Rollins did the best thing that he could ever do for Bronson Reed, and that's to sell that this monster is still on his feet and he's still staring at him, and he was astonished. And then if you watch the post show, they had his interview with him, and he was like putting Bronson Reed over, man. He's like, man, that guy's a big monster, and I know that we're gonna meet some point, and I'm hoping it's not tomorrow. Like, I'm hoping it's not so closely, because that guy's a beast. So I think Bronson Reed is an interesting project that you kind of it was rekindled and put back together. And I think that speaks a lot of Triple H, and it just says a lot when a wrestler's potential is realized. And I think a lot of people that are in the WWE have potential, but not everybody gets that opportunity for that potential to shine. And I think in that Chris Van Vliet, and did an interview with Bronson Reed? I think so,
yes,
right?
He did, yes.
And he talked about how he felt like no one really saw what he's worth, and then it was only Triple H that saw what he was really worth, because under the old regime with Vince, he wasn't realized completely as clear as day. But now with Triple H, he realizes, like, hey, I know this worth it. I think that's what a lot of people should give Triple H some credit for, because I think Triple H does try at least to get you going. It's like everyone's a fire, right? He's going to try to spark it, and if it doesn't catch fire with the WWE Universe, it is what it is, man.
Do you think that Bronson Reed is his best rehire?
I think it's his best rehire that is not CM Punk. I feel like people, when we do, like I saw that on Twitter, and I think we had this question as well: who's the best rehire? And everyone was like CM Punk, but I don't think that's fair because CM Punk
doesn't count. That's so
right, doesn't count.
That's hell freezing over. That's
right. That's
that
like
is not
Michael Jordan. And
that doesn't count.
Bulls. Like we get it. We get it.
Yeah. Well, aside from Punk,
I think Nia Jax is up there. Definitely, Nia Jax has had a successful run. I think what hurts Nia Jax the most is her inconsistency in the ring. Every now and then she'll have a fumble, or she won't have like a strong match. I think her match at Perth with Rhea Ripley wasn't a strong one, and her recent one in Saudi wasn't the best because the way sometimes she's a great big monster, so to speak, like a Bronson Reed, but there are times where the chemistry between the two doesn't gel well. I think her and Liv Morgan didn't gel well as I expected. And Rhea didn't gel well either. I think she gels well with smaller wrestlers. I'm trying to think of a wrestler that she was gelling well with.
Well, Bayley at SummerSlam was a fantastic match.
Yeah. So there's some wrestlers that she has that chemistry. I think Bronson Reed just proves that he has chemistry with everybody. Like I have yet to see a bad match from Bronson Reed. I thought we were gonna get a bad match with Braun Strowman. I was like, ooh, this is a recipe for disaster. But he did hold his own, and like I said, and when he got his hands on Sheamus, I was like, oh, okay, that's a good match. When he got his hands on Damian, I was like, okay, there's another match. So if you had to ask me, I would say Bronson Reed, as of now, is probably the best Triple H rehire.
Yeah, I think right now that's where I'm leaning towards as well. I think it is Bronson Reed. Because Bronson Reed was rehired, but he wasn't immediately put into a place of prominence necessarily. He was being used and being used better. But now we're seeing a Triple H rehire that has been given the ball and is running with it. And I just don't think that anyone's going to take that ball away from Bronson Reed.
Question: what is the best Triple H re-gimmick?
I don't understand the question.
Like Triple H said, this is not working for you, this Vince gimmick. Let me give you your old gimmick back, and let me repackage you to where you could stand on your own 2 feet.
You know what? I like Baron Corbin as an answer here, even though he was recently released. Just being expunged of this like happy Corbin, bum ass Corbin stuff, being sent to NXT and be allowed to be a version of the Lone Wolf that he was, not identical, but you know, he was removed of the Vince-ness of his character. And I really thought that he was fantastic in that role in NXT. Obviously, as of the making of this video, Baron Corbin has been released, but just the work he was doing on NXT was just so darn good. Karrion perhaps has to be in the conversation as well. I'm trying to think any other rehire. Oh, well, Cody Rhodes wasn't a Triple H rehire, but
no. I mean, I'm just like, I'm thinking as well, like the War Raiders, like that is another.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's still so recent. Still,
right?
Though,
it's kind of we're still working out. I think on Monday Night Raw, the commentary team did a really good job at showing how much they had to overcome through their actual health issues, a motorcycle accident, neck fusion surgery, like all that kind of craziness. Is like, wow, the War Raiders are definitely up there. I mean, dude, I'm thinking LWO, dude, slowly coming around, man. It was problematic at first, but Triple H has seemed to find a footing with them by putting Dragon Lee and Eddie, buddy, Rey Mysterio together. So like, there's some good things there. I think Nia is definitely one of those ones as well. Repackaged, kind of, sorta, in a certain way, rebuilt up. She's no longer just these eyes. Remember that was her entrance where they zoomed in on her eyes. I'm a monster. It's no longer that stuff. I think Liv Morgan has to be someone that we have to keep an eye on. It's someone that has found her footing in the Triple H era because she was no longer this pixie with the blue tongue and, you know, skipping around and just being this surface level character. I think we're gonna be in the Liv Morgan era for a while, and I think that's fine. I'm trying to think of any other. Let
me go the other way. Who's worse off under Triple H?
Oh, that's a good question because a lot of people love to give Triple H his flowers, right?
Yeah, Finn Balor, bro.
Yes,
dude, it's Finn Balor. 100%. Even with Vince, Finn Balor was significantly better off than with Triple H.
To the moon with Vince.
Yeah,
he was given the first Universal Champion. Dude.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about that, and yeah, we never revisited that, because of the injury. But then,
it was Triple H's Finn Balor, the Demon, that kind of put him on the map of the WWE, though.
On NXT, sure, absolutely. But then, I mean, he's had Finn Balor for a while now, and just has not been able to figure out with this current iteration of Finn Balor.
Dominic Mysterio, but I don't think Dominic Mysterio is a Triple H creation.
No, Dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom had to be a Vince.
Wait, no, Dirty Dom was Triple H because Triple H basically soft took over SummerSlam 2022. Remember when Brock was Cowboy Brock, flipped the ring, damage control became a thing, and then the heel turn of Dominic Mysterio was like a month and a half later at Clash of the Castle. And Triple H was in the driver's seat at that point. So like Dominic Mysterio is actually a good shout here. Damien's another great shout as well in terms of somebody that's flourished under Triple H.
JD's flourished a little bit. I'm trying to think on the women's side because I think there's a lot of misses on the women's side for Triple H. I mean, Tegan Nox, of course, was released, but Tegan Nox was an injury thing. And I think DIY. I feel like that's a revisiting, and it hasn't hit yet.
It hasn't hit yet, man.
This is their last, I guess, quiver, in the arrows where it's the last opportunity for DIY to hit by having Ciampa and Gargano turn on each other.
Yeah, I mean Triple H is likely going to dig into that bag of tricks, right? I think we talked about it before, where that's one of his greatest hits in NXT Black and Gold.
Banger.
Yeah.
Dude, is this a safe place?
Sometimes it depends on what you say.
I like Butch better than Pete Dunne. I'm just saying it, dude. Butch was good, dude. Butch was cooking. Butch got somewhere. Butch was getting over. I know Pete Dunne hates it. Butch was getting over.
With who? When?
Ridge Holland, Butch, and Sheamus were getting over.
Okay, the Brawling Brutes were getting over. The Brawling
Brutes were getting over, and Butch was getting over. He would get the hot tag and go, he would always jump on the back. Butch was getting over. And then when he switched to Pete Dunne, it kind of slowed him down. This whole shillelagh thing with Sheamus with Pete Dunne. Now R-Truth is getting mixed up with Pete Dunne and Butch. I'm just saying, it's up for a discussion for Butch to Pete Dunne. Because the New Catch Republic...
Yeah, that wasn't cutting it. That was not cutting it. And injury or not, that was never going to work long term.
To be fair, a lot of Triple H's repackaging and whatnot, a lot of it's Death Rebel's fault.
Are we ever... Dude, that's such a funny scapegoat for Triple H to use. It wasn't bad booking for me. It was Death Rebel.
It's true, dude. I mean, I feel so bad because Sheamus just doesn't feel like he has any... His character is missing something. It's like there was this close, Santi, of Randy Orton getting a new Death Rebel song. This
dear
close.
Lord. Oh,
and now it's the loudest song that's ever sung ever at these PLEs. Hey, shouts to the crowd at Crown Jewel. They brought it. They keep getting better every year. And I keep people coming to my chat for the watch parties. They're like, the people in the Saudis that live with, they're like, oh, we're ready. We've been having this movement. We're so ready. And they even got up for the ladies. Man, they were doing an awesome job. And I felt like they were the right mix of not being overbearing, but hitting the notes when they needed to be there.
Yeah, I think they definitely saved themselves for the main event. The atmosphere of the main event was wild. It felt like a European crowd, at a football match in that main event. But I think you mentioned an interesting talking point is their increased, I guess, entertainment value of how they perceive women's wrestling. Because they're definitely making a lot more noise year over year over year, and they were loud for the women. They were loud for the women's Royal Rumble Battle Royal that we just saw on Monday Night Raw as well. Like, I feel like for a long time there was I guess you could say a discussion amongst wrestling fans that major women's related events should just never happen in Saudi Arabia because they're not going to get the right reaction. Yeah. I'm now of the mind, and that was what a lot of people were saying against the thought of debuting a women's mid-card championship there, or doing the women's Queen of the Ring there, or Tiffany Stratton cashing in there. There's a lot of people that believe that major women's moments should not happen in Saudi Arabia because they would get bigger reactions somewhere else. Here's what I say to that. Would they get bigger reactions somewhere else? The answer is yes, almost certainly. But if you want to prime the Saudi audience to fall in love with these women wrestlers and characters, then you need to push the envelope there. You need to be a trailblazer in front of this crowd and do the big women's moments so that they get up and cheer and that it becomes a norm there. Because if you shy away from doing major women's moments in Saudi Arabia, then you're actually kind of letting the stigma against women's wrestling in Saudi Arabia win. You know, you want to beat that stigma by giving those good moments there so that they have no choice but to cheer, but to make noise. That's my thought on that.
It's kind of crazy, though, that the Saudi kind of crowd has developed their own kind of like their backyard wrestlers, like the ones they love to cheer for, even though they may not be the most popular. Like, I think of LA Knight. LA Knight loved over there.
Dude, they were loving Bianca Belair.
Right, Bianca Belair. Liv Morgan loved there a lot. I'm trying to think of other wrestlers that are just loved beyond. Sami Zayn, of course, because of the background. But there's so many wrestlers that have that second life. Or even Sheamus. Bro, Sheamus was getting some big pops at Monday Night Raw. I think this is a really cool thing, and I'm glad they kind of established this relationship because, dog, we have to look at where we started. We started with Natalya and Lacey Evans wrestling in shirts and big baggy shirts, dude, looking like a bunch of kids out there. But now they're looking great. They're putting so much presentation into this and prestige, and Liv Morgan being the first ever crown jewel winner, and how important it was to her. I think her being emotional kind of sold that moment more than Cody can ever do. Right?
I agree.
Right? Like her just absorbing that moment and appreciating the ring. It felt very business-like for Cody. Cody was shaking hands with the government officials, but for Liv Morgan, it meant more than that. And I think this is what's going to be a great thing for Liv Morgan, because I think because of the injury with Rhea Ripley, we're going to be in a solid place for Liv Morgan with Raquel bringing the helm. And now that we know that Io Sky is the number one contender, woo! It's going to be good, dude. Can I quickly say this?
Hit me.
How does Dominic Mysterio get away with Tiffany Stratton saying, does he come with the belt if I cash in on you? And then the look of Dom going, oh, and then going, no, Liv, I'm not going to do it.
Dude, he's the Pete Davidson of professional wrestling.
Yes.
He really is.
He is so good. And you know what? I probably have to say, he's probably the most relatable and coolest wrestler on the roster that I could probably talk to him and hang with him. Because, he loves chicken tendies, loves PlayStation 5, and you may be thinking that's a character, but I think this character is really close to Dominic Mysterio because it makes it easier for him to play. Because remember, he's still not green, but he's still, doesn't have a lot of experience underneath his belt as being this heel.
Sure. You know what? I want to believe that too. Or maybe he's just so good at his job that he's making you believe that. That's also a possibility as well.
True.
I also, I could see the relatability, with the fact that he's not this larger than life superhuman either. He's just a dude. So it's pretty, granted, I'm one of those larger than life superhumans. So I relate more to the John Cena's of the world. I relate more to 2002 Triple H, I relate to those guys, so I understand it from your perspective as to why, piddly arm Sancho is relating to Dominic Mysterio. So I totally get it. I get where you're coming from, my man.
Your face that you're making reminds me of Putty from Seinfeld. You remember that guy?
Yes. Huge chunk of our viewers do not know who you just referenced.
Oh, well, I said Kronk. Now we know who Kronk is, though, right? Come on, Emperor's New Groove? Kronk?
You're talking to somebody that knows what you're talking about. I'm just saying.
All right, fair enough.
I don't think that everybody does.
What I know is about Liv Morgan. Are you ready for the Liv Morgan era?
I am. I think I am. I've been very hesitant on Liv Morgan, but it is undeniable that her rise up the charts of the main roster is it's impressive. It really is. And yeah, you can say that, well, it's because of the Rhea Ripley rivalry. And, to pull a Sancho here and make a ridiculous comparison, every Bret Hart needed a Shawn, every Rock needed an Austin,
every Santi needed a Sancho.
Yeah, every Charlotte needed a Sasha. And I think that Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan need each other as much as the other one needs the other. I think that their careers are going to be parallel to one another. They're going to rise with each other for the rest of their career. And you know what? Like, again, it's easy to say that Liv Morgan's rise is off the piggybacking of Rhea Ripley, but I feel like if you put the wrong person in the scenario that Liv Morgan was put in, that they would have slipped, that they would have faltered, and Liv Morgan did not.
Everyone thought it was a transitional champion, man. They thought she was going to hold on to it just for Rhea to win it back. But I think the WWE saw the amount of gold that is having Dom be this third character that's going to be antagonistic to Rhea Ripley, to keeping a easy way to make Rhea Ripley face is to show that she was cheated on almost in a kayfabe kind of way, right? And that they made her Rhea Ripley a bigger star. They made Dom a bigger star, and they made everybody and Liv Morgan a bigger star. And I think what's working with Liv Morgan is her moveset, this hybrid of luchador moveset that she has with the tornado DDTs and then her Oblivion gives her the ability to wrestle bigger people. And I think it worked out against Nia Jax. I know it's like a lot of people were saying that Crown Jewel felt like a house show in some aspects. Even we're going to talk about the Bloodline match, but I still enjoyed that match at least moved the women's division forward, the amount of characters that were around, and that I feel that now that Liv Morgan is going to be the one that's centered this universe, I think it's going to be more about the belt. And I enjoyed the idea of Io Sky being the first opponent. So it's more going to be about can Liv Morgan survive Io Sky in terms of the genius of the Sky and how great she is in the ring, this technical powerhouse who's been winning a lot of matches lately. I think it's going to be a very exciting thing. And can Io Sky overcome Raquel, Liv, and Dom? Like, it's a very tough trio to overcome.
I'm excited for whatever this feud looks like. I hope it's a feud and not just a one-off match on Monday Night Raw. I will say that I think that doing a battle royal was a smart choice, because it was a quick reminder of like, hey, remember all these women we had in the back burner that we haven't been using? Here they are. They're relevant again and important because now we're no longer able to stay in this vacuum that was Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan and hogging the title there. Now we need all of you to step up. I think that Io Sky is far and away the best option for this. I am an Io Sky fan. I think that's been pretty clear over the months that we've been doing that we've been doing this podcast. But look, Lyra would have been great. A lot of people would have been great. But the thing is that with how, and let's just call a spade here, poor the Raw women's division has been developed outside of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley
and the tag team,
and the tag team division. Literally, the only option was Io Sky. She's the only one that you had any sort of positive development in because of her time in the tag team division, not even as a singles, and is the only one that had some development going while also having the resume and the pedigree to just be able to be instantly inserted and no one would bat an eye. It's a shame because I feel had they been using Lyra Valkyria well all along, she probably should have been the right person here and allowed Io to continue to go with the tag team division and kind of keep her separate for now from the main event scene, from these borderline dream matches that we want Io to have. So because of that, it does feel to a degree like Io Sky versus Liv Morgan is a match in, with these, how much Liv Morgan has raised her stock, to me is like borderline little mini dream match that I think is maybe happening a little bit too quickly because they have no choice but to put Io Sky in this position. She's the only one that made sense here.
I do enjoy the idea as well that they're using the belt. It's like we like to talk about it before. It was just an accessory, but now it is a kind of like a cataclysm or like a catalyst for Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair to start that split.
You know what? Cataclysm is actually also a correct choice. Choice of words there too, because it could cause a cataclysm.
Like, what's going to happen? Like, for the longest time, we've been waiting for this Mania match of the two awesome, beautiful ladies of Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, who look great in their Deadpool outfits. You notice that? They're rocking the Deadpool, and Jade had that little belt that said Jade on it.
Yep.
She's a superhero in disguise. But I think it's a great way to have that, and I like that Liv Morgan was poking the bear a little bit and saying, like, guys, you're not even friends. You're just pretending to be friends because you think you need to be tag team champions. But at the end of the day, you guys are not equals. You
guys want the same thing.
And you guys want the same thing. It's this. You see this belt? You see this belt, Jay? You see this belt, Bianca? Oh, but yeah, I absolutely love it. And I think like Battle Royale most of the times are awful. But when there's all the players in the game kind of have like a skin in the game that matter. And as someone that's been watching, like I said, Royal Rumbles for 11 episodes, that's 11 hours, dude, of just Royal Rumbles. I thought it was done well. I do have a bone to pick of the modern Royal Rumble Battle Royale stigma. Are you ready?
Hit us.
The apron spots starting to suck, all right? They are awful.
Wait,
I hate it. Why would you fight on the hardest part? It's the hardest part of the ring.
So. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the hardest part of the ring. Why would you fight on the hardest part of the ring when you know that it's the most dangerous part to fight on? It's like fighting on Edge of the Storm in Fortnite. You wouldn't do that if you're 1 HP. You would stay away from the Edge of the Storm. Granted, it's a place where you can hit one finisher and the person falls off. Like, that's why they do it, because in the ring, you hit your finisher and then you have to get them up over the ring. But now, since you're on the outside, you can do a 6 suplex on the hardest part of the ring, like Io did to Lyra, and you get the win. Like, I get it. It's a fun little spot. But I'm getting tired of it, brother. I'm getting tired of it. We saw it at the Women's Royal Rumble. That's how Liv lost. Come on now.
This is the epitome, Sancho, of this is the most privileged first world wrestling fan problem ever.
I'm just saying. Tower of Doom spot. Wrestlers hitting the ring post with their shoulders.
This is such a non-problem.
I'm just saying, man.
If you think people are like, yeah, he's cooking, everybody's like, who cares? You're the only one. You're the only one on this.
It's Patreon has made me this way. I've sat and watched 11 hours of Royal Rumble. You know what else that I dislike? Every time ruining my Royal Rumble experience, brother. I'm so happy he came out in 2002 late. He came in late, and I was like, oh, this, you know what? This seems like a great place for and out he comes, dude.
You got a lot more Big Show left in the Royal Rumbles.
No.
For those that don't know, Sancho, we have two. It's like Pokemon Red and Blue. All right, you can pick and choose, or maybe you can have both. Sancho is doing the Royal Rumble watch-alongs, leading all the way up to the Royal Rumble this year, or next year technically. And I'm doing, and we just started it this week, the Undertaker WrestleMania match ranked, where we're going week by week, and we're watching in order, chronological order, every single Undertaker WrestleMania match. We watched the first one, the one against Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Come check it out. The series just began, and it's scheduled to end on the week of WrestleMania 41. Patreon.com/SantiZap.
It's not a bad match. I know it's like a 5-minute match. It's not that bad.
Here's the thing. You know what I noticed? It was clearly supposed to end with Jimmy going for the springboard and then getting caught and turned into a tombstone. But like, Jimmy's not a small guy at all. Yeah. So like Taker kind of fumbled him, so he had to put him on the ground standing, punch him, and then pick him up for the tombstone. Anyways, these are things that I point out during the watch along. You guys should come over.
It's so good because not only that, it's Taker with that mullet.
Still red hair.
Mullet. It's still red hair, and then he has Paul Bear.
He was the highlight of for me of that watch along, dude. I don't know what it is, but that man contorts his face in ways that don't make sense. It's like his face is silly putty with the way that he moves his jaw and his lips around to create different emotions as to what's happening with the urn and the Undertaker. I'm excited to look. There's a sadistic part of me that's excited to see how bad Undertaker versus John Gonzalez is, because if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the next one. I think it's the next one.
Do you remember the Great Khali and Undertaker?
Oh, I do.
It's even worse.
I do. You think it's worse than Giant Gonzalez?
No, Great Khali is better than Giant Gonzalez.
Oh,
Giant Gonzalez
I hear you.
Worse.
Oh, boy.
Because Great Khali was at least actually a fit dude, right?
Yes.
He had some muscle, right? He
worked
out. Giant Gigante Gonzalez was just a dude with an outfit that had drawn in abs, brother. And he was a tall guy. All I know is Undertaker matches and Mania matches in those early onset, you got to appreciate the development of Undertaker. Like you have to watch for that aspect. Like, how did the gimmick change? When did Paul Bearer get put to rest? The Ministry of Darkness Undertaker, the goateed Undertaker, and then when did Vince McMahon goes, oh, because didn't he's like Taker say in many of his interviews, like, we didn't know I was on a streak, and then eventually it just
it does get it. I think it's into like the double digits where they don't even realize that he's on a streak. Just to confirm, the next one is actually against Jake the Snake Roberts. I'm excited for that one actually. But yeah, like I think the beauty of what I'm watching here, because the first like 11 Undertaker WrestleMania matches are bad. The journey here isn't just watching the matches. It's definitely, like you said, seeing the development of the character, the Undertaker, seeing how things change on a year by year basis. Like, for example, like something neat that I noticed in that first match is that they were just talking over the Undertaker's entrance and talking over the song, and like, you compare that to like his post Mania's in the 20s. Commentators wouldn't dare say a peep through an Undertaker entrance. They wouldn't dare. So like, we're also going to be seeing the rise of like his stock and his perceived level of respect that he has with the commentary team as well. I'm excited to see how everything develops. So come check it out.
When Biker Taker shows up, dude, I pop when Biker Taker showed up at the Rumble. Because what's interesting, just quickly for the blue side of the things when it comes to Pokemon Red and Blue, Taker in the Royal Rumble doesn't really do much. Like, he is a powerhouse for sure, and he has a lot of respect, gets a big pop. The one I watched 2002 was the one with Maven. Remember that one?
Oh, he killed Maven. Yes.
Yeah, and then he like gets kicked out. But it's interesting because even that spot, and I'm thinking about in the future, when you eliminate the Undertaker, it means a lot. There's a thunderstorm here, so if the power goes out. But it means a lot to get rid of the Undertaker, and they use the Undertaker to either put you over, like when Cody Rhodes first entered and he went up against Undertaker, or it starts a feud. Because and usually, Santi, when you fight the Undertaker on the Rumble in some sort of way, you lead that feud into Mania. Like he's like, oh, you eliminated me, and now I'm gonna kill you. You know,
that's true. That is true. Yeah, a lot of stuff going over on the Patreon, so definitely come check it out. We are increasing the value pretty much like every month, it seems. There's more value add, and there's some exciting news coming to the Patreon as well that we'll hold close to our chest for now.
A lot of investment.
Yes. Everybody has a price. Okay, let's not fully move away from Crown Jewel. We had a lot of, we talked about how sometimes like some things with the Crown Jewel Championship, it felt like it was non-canon. But the Bloodline stuff was definitely canon. That was definitely a needle mover. I know I'm starting to overuse that term. When it comes to WWE storytelling, we had the reinsertion of Sami Zayn into the Bloodline saga, something that developed obviously at Crown Jewel and further developed on Monday Night Raw, which, by the way, we're doing this like immediately after Monday Night Raw, so we're pretty fresh off the episode. I'm excited about the inclusion of Sami Zayn in all of this. The other thing I want to say that I want to talk about, totally the right call to have Solo win and win clean. No involvement from Tongaloa, no shenanigans. You know what to me it symbolized? I said this in my review and in the Hot Takes episode over on the YouTube page. I said that until this bloodline, like Roman Reigns' version of the bloodline, can be a cohesive unit, they should keep losing, because not only are they not together, there's problems between Jay and Roman, but there was like symbolism as well of how separated they are by the fact that they came out separately. And I feel like until they come out as a unified front, they're not going to take out Solo and his version of the bloodline, because they are a unified front. They're on the same page. So I'm excited to see how the fixing of the bridges is going to go over the next couple of weeks. We have Sami Zayn going over to SmackDown to talk to Roman Reigns. We have Jimmy very much not on board with Sami Zayn being part of this version of the Bloodline, which is role reversal between Jimmy and Jay. The last time that Sami Zayn was being introduced into the Bloodline. So a lot of good telenovela stuff here, Sancho.
It felt very romantic for Sami to say, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to fight for this anymore. I'm not going to be put on trial anymore. I'm not going to have to prove myself anymore. Another kind of echo to what Jimmy and Jay are saying to Roman. We're not going to be your lackeys. I'm not going to do this. I am my own man type of vibe. Because remember, Sami went on his own adventure too. Was able to capture singles gold himself. And then for Sami to be like, I'm out. I'm here to tell you, Jay, that I love you and I'm out. And then for Jay to be like, no, man. I need you to show up on SmackDown. Let's squash this. Let's work this out together. And then for Jay to go back on quickly, like, dude, you are family. Brother, you are family. I wish he said you are Usi. I was waiting for the word.
I wasn't waiting for Usi. I thought that Sami was going to drop the Usi line when he was talking about them all being in the ring. When we were all in there, it felt right. It felt, and I thought he was going to drop Usi, and the pop would have been crazy, but he did not say Usi.
He didn't drop that, but I like the idea of him saying, like, it reminded me of us being together and how we used to run things. But remember, like, it's interesting to me that this is the nuance of Triple H. Yeah, they were running things, and yeah, they were heels, but it's still like they were boys, you know? It's a different kind of a face kind of reflection or thinking about the past with face lenses. And not really thinking about the heinous things that the Bloodline used to do.
Oh, I love that Sami brought that up, right? Like, whoa, you are not going to be talking holier than thou on me. You were the one who super kicked me. Then you were the one that, you super kicked me in the face. And then you super kicked Roman in the face. And then you super kicked Jay in the face. Like, you're the one that's been causing all of this. And I didn't think about it that way until he pointed it out. All of the major Bloodline, like, toppling down moments were started by Jimmy.
And kicking in the face. You get a super kick to the face. I think the most interesting thing, the reason why I think Solo needed to win was you needed to have more tension with the OG Bloodline. You needed to have friction. And then, of course, Paul Heyman's the guy that's going to be able to put everything back together again. He's the one that puts all the pieces back together. He's the one that sweet talks everybody, and he smooths everything out. But I still think the dynamic of the OG Bloodline is fascinating to see, even in the ring. Yes, the commentators called out so bluntly that Jey Uso didn't tag Roman because he wanted to stand on his own. I get that, but like you mentioned, even the ring attire doesn't match. They're all different, right? They all look completely different. But the biggest thing is I noticed is that Roman, I have two things. One, Michael Cole laid it on really thick that Roman has a problem with Jay and Jimmy. Like, he was like, Roman was kind of disgusted or not amused by them. And it felt really weird because I tweeted out, like, Michael Cole seems like a Bloodline hater here. He was like really laying it on thick that he does not trust this reunion. And he was like, it was bizarre. If you go back to watching the beginning of Crown Jewel, it was like out of place, it felt like. And at the same time, Roman looked like he was trying to play it cool. Like, he wasn't really hyping into the yeet like Jimmy. He was always standing off in the corner watching. And then, like, when the time where the Usos did their own tag team move, it cut to Roman's face and he had this, like, bitter face. And I still think that Roman, in order for this to work, has to realize he has to share the spotlight. And he didn't want to share it with The Rock. He doesn't want to share it with Jimmy. And he, of course, does not want to share it with Jay more than ever. So I'm interested to see what Friday comes around because he feels like an older brother that you need to get on board with, and he doesn't want to. He wants to play it cool, you know, like because to be real though, Roman has to come down from his godlike Titan aura of the tribal chief with the gaudy music, the Elden Ring music. He needs to come down from that pedestal and meet the Usos and Sami for them to be a different bloodline, because this is not going to be the same Roman that we all love, that final boss type aura.
And I think that's where Paul Heyman comes in, right? I think Paul Heyman is going to be the reality check for Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
At least I hope that that's the case.
Be a little honey in the ear, you know?
Who would be my honey in my ear?
Dominic.
You
do anything
the forbidden fruit.
You do anything for Dom. You would fold for Dom.
Dude, the USA Network Twitter page was tweeting some like glaze about how great Dominic is.
Yeah.
And I got spam that like, did I get hired at USA Network? Am I running their socials?
I don't understand why everyone hates on Dom. Like, they laugh at him for being in the number one contender. Like, everyone on Monday Night Raw. It's just
the hatred, man.
Dogging him. Hating on him.
There are 3 great contenders in there. 3 great fighters. And then Dom.
I hated it. And you know what's funny? It used to be that for Solo. Everyone would be like, yeah, everyone's cool. The new Bloodline's awesome, but Solo's still here leading them. Now,
oh, okay. I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you mean.
Yeah, people were like, Solo's whatever, you know. It should be Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu should be the leader. He's the one that has the most aura around him. But Solo in these past 2 months and in the PLE proved that he could stand it and he could do it. The only thing that was missing in that Bloodline match for me was a moment between Jacob and Roman. They didn't really get that. I didn't see Roman and Jacob wrestle a good, like, something hard hitting, something brutal. We saw Jacob to be on offensive, but I wanted to see more of a little bit of back and forth. But I'm hate to break it to the people. Bloodline matches are not going to change, dude. Roman's not going to change his moveset. You're not going to get a Dragon Lee and Chad Gable match because that match was banger, right? You're not going to get a Andrade and Carmelo match out of the Bloodline. You're going to get super kicks, hip toss, hip thrust into the corner. You're going to get Superman punch, and you're going to get body splashes, moonsaults, and spears. That's what you're going to get. What's the goal for the Bloodline is the drama on the outside. That's what makes everything so good.
Mm-hmm. And it's what's next, right? It's that question of like, okay, we got to this point in the story. Where do we go from here? That's the allure of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline saga, just seeing how it will develop, because we know that the Bloodline saga is going to be the cornerstone of WrestleMania 41. We know that. But the enjoyment of the ride is like, what does that end finish line look like? And what are all the cool things, all of the fan servicey things as well that they could do between now and WrestleMania 41?
Does he feel like the reason why you like this, because this feels like a story that's never going to end? Like, it's not going to end in a PLE cycle. It's not going to end in the Mania. There's just so much to it. Like a feud, Cody versus AJ. Oh, this is going to end at Backlash. A feud with Kevin Owens. Oh, it's going to end. Like, it feels like it just keeps on. I know Triple H booking is evolving where they're bringing up older stuff, but I feel like this Bloodlines is so vast and it even goes beyond what we have. Like, literally, I was watching Goldust versus Rikishi. Like, it goes that far back with RHODES and the Bloodline. Like, it's insane.
I would say the reason why I like the Bloodline story so far so much, and stick with me here, it feels still, by the way, even post WrestleMania 40, it feels like peak Marvel, where every MCU, individual, MCU, where every individual movie mattered a lot because it was good. And I think in this case, every PLE moment, every PLE match matters, because it's always building to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, until the eventual big mass where all of them come together, right? And even though they like knocked it out of the park with the build up to WrestleMania 40, it still feels like maybe this is just Marvel Phase 2, where it was still great. You know, now we're building up to another great Avengers Assemble moment. It's just the constant building on everything. So many
characters that are not in it. And I know we didn't get The Rock here, as we predicted. We thought The Rock was going to show up. And
Dude, they still have Hikuleo somewhere.
I know.
Signed.
I know, but when Heyman drops and when The Rock drops, we still are not done yet, dude. We're still like, it's just the beginning. It's still the rising action of this.
Bro, we haven't even had Roman versus Solo yet. We haven't even had that. And that's not a big finale. That's like a middle tier moment.
There's so many matches. We even the Usos versus the Tongans, just a straight up tag match. Like, that's gonna bang. Even Jacob Fatu versus, who knows when Jacob Fatu goes on and gets Solo. Like, there's so many different characters that I can play. And dude, it is so loved that even Tama Tonga, that Saudi crowd, yeah. I loved it, dude. I was like, oh my God, they're getting it. This was awesome. Like Tama Tonga never got that much love in any kind of PLE ever. Like, yeah. And the whole crowd, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, man, that Saudi crowd, you know what it is, man? They're becoming a wrestling crowd. Because
just
if you
because they have your signs. They had 2 of your signs there.
There was 3. There was a third one. You know what the third one said? It was a picture of me going, it's going to be Bloodline rules. I'm brain rotting the kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
You're the opposite, dude. Even though they had the big face mask of you, the big old fat head of you, so to speak.
Oh, it was great. It was great, dude.
You know what? You need to go to Saudi Arabia, dude. That's it. You need to book a trip.
Maybe. I feel like, dude, I feel like I'd have a blast in Saudi Arabia. I have so many of my viewers are from Saudi.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of them, yeah. So
yeah, you need to head over there,
dude. They're like I was saying, man. Like they've evolved into proper wrestling fans. Go back to the first Saudi show ever, the first ever Crown Jewel.
Even the arena was different. They had like tables with like.
Bro, it was a dinner party. It was weird. It was like in the United States, you guys do that like presidential correspondence dinner with the press.
Yeah.
It looked like that. It looked like that. It was so bizarre. But now it's a rowdy fan base. They're loud. They're singing. It's been cool seeing their development for sure. I'm proud of them.
You know what else is cool?
What?
LA Knight. That's right.
LA Knight was pretty cool.
You gave a lot of glaze already. I don't want to hit we don't want to double glaze because sometimes too much glaze.
I don't know, man. Those double stuffed Oreos are pretty popular.
Really?
Maybe a little bit of a double stuffed glaze.
That's could be a thing. I mean, I've always been the singular glazer, and you jumping in.
Yeah, you go from one side, I go from the other. You bring your glaze stick, I bring my glaze stick. We just glaze it together. We use our glazing instruments. The little tag team glazing.
I play Fortnite, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Wait. Oh, like, you have a dirty mind. What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you, sir? There is people here.
I was just explaining how much we love this, how much we're glazing.
Yeah, show this to LA Knight. See what he says. See what he says about us. Look, LA Knight needed this more than anybody. This legitimized LA Knight as United States title holder. This legitimized him as a champion. This is going to be a great springboard for him. This adds another feather in his cap that his BFT could be done out of nowhere, and he is willing to strike out of nowhere. And it's LA Knight just absorbs another wrestler now. He's now as what are you thinking?
I'm just laughing about how he desperately needs to get rid of that jumping suplex that he does because that crowd jewel landed and just nut first right into the ropes.
I know, and Big E asked him about it, and he's like, "What happened there on the ropes?" And I'm like, "Big E, come on, bro." And I could tell that LA Knight was pissed that he was asked about it, but I like what LA Knight said. He's like, I'm gonna go in the gym, hit that 10, 15 times, and I'm gonna try and nail it. But yeah, dude, LA Knight, just limit your moveset. Because when I saw in the Royal Rumble in 2002, Stone Cold just literally doing the what kicks in the corner, I was like, it's LA Knight, man. LA Knight doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. He doesn't need all this. Is this a safe place?
Oh boy.
I'm gonna take you down a real serious journey here for a second.
Hit me.
Okay. I am currently doing life coaching, right? I, as a freelancer, and me trying to figure out what's my next step, right? I have a life coach who's telling me things and helping me figure stuff out. Untangling knots is what she does. She's really good at it. And one of the things we talked about is the past, the things you did in the past, is it serving you today? All right? Is the things that you did that you held on to that made you survive what you're going through, that help you get to the next level and whatever you're doing in your life, or help you keep status quo, is this thing serving you now that you're holding on to? LA Knight is holding on to some of the moves that he probably had to do to stand out above the crowd. Shout out to the Goofy movie. And he's holding on to it, but he doesn't need to do that stuff anymore. He doesn't need to jump onto the double on the top rope to show that he's athletic. We know he is. We know that he has it in his bag, and if he would pull it out every now and then to show that he still got it, that'd be awesome. But he doesn't need to do these extra stuff to prove that he has made it because, brother, he's already made it. And you could tell in his interviews, he had an interview with Big E in the post-match. He thinks it's all going to be taken away from him like that. He has this feeling that in one moment, everything's going to come crashing down. And that's a tough place to be, brother. It's a tough place to be, to feel like in 1 second, the ride's over. And I feel like LA Knight continues to push the envelope in his matches, which is great. And he continues to try to do new things, which is awesome because, dude, that LA Knight versus Logan Paul, right? They had a moment that was kind of like, ooh, that was a little bit sketchy, that Logan Paul catapulted himself with that crazy moonsault and LA Knight had to catch him. There's lots of things that LA Knight does in his moveset that he loves to push the envelope, which I can't fault him for. But is it serving him?
It feels like LA Knight wrestles like a prisoner eats his food, afraid or maybe concerned that somebody that's bigger, badder in the yard is going to come in and take his food from him.
It's probably because he's had that multiple times throughout his entire life. I can't blame him. I don't blame him from doing that. And anytime he botches that, I'm just going to be like, hey, man, he's going for it. It's a different kind of a thing. Like, wrestling is wrestling, dude. They always say, a lot of wrestlers hate the word botch because it's very difficult to perform these moves live and they execute them perfectly. But you can't fault a wrestler for trying.
Sure.
To push the...
And I don't know if he necessarily needs to remove the move. I think it is a pull it out in the right moments. But dang it, man, I'll never remove that from my mind. How funny it was just seeing him dangling in the middle of the ropes. Yeah, that was funny. That was good stuff. But I think it's the right result as well. LA Knight winning, like you said, I feel like the one thing that got over the most was the BFT, not necessarily just LA Knight. Yeah, man, that feeling of out of nowhere. Andrade and Carmelo just make that move look so absolutely devastating. You know what I was like super pleased by? I thought that LA Knight was going to damage the chemistry. I thought that LA Knight was going to damage the chemistry that was created, over months of working between Carmelo and Andrade. And I thought this is just going to be a worse Andrade versus Carmelo match. But and I think it's the style of wrestling that LA Knight brings. He just meshed so well with both of them. So well. I want to see this again. Like I was saying earlier in the podcast, this is one of my favorite matches of the year. It's going to be I have a big bias towards really good short matches, as I mentioned. I feel like it's really difficult to do a good short match and that's memorable. So I hold it in a bit higher regard from that standpoint. But to me, it just delivered in so many ways. It was a good way to, not that it was their intention, but to say I'm sorry for ending Game 7 the way that they did.
Well, I think for me, it shows that LA Knight knew that Andrade and Carmelo would forget that he was there, and he took advantage of that. Like Andrade and Carmelo hate each other so much, and they have their own little chemistry that they forgot that LA Knight was ready to strike with the BFT, and when he hit it, he hit it. He hit it and quit it. And he was out, brother. It was awesome. And I think that I'm hoping that, like I mentioned, this means that they could have Andrade versus LA Knight or Carmelo versus LA Knight. They could kind of build out this middle card that's struggling a lot on it. And I think that LA Knight could at least have a better run with the belt than anyone in the United States champion had in a long time.
I agree.
And at least he's performed well at PLE. That's important for LA Knight to actually hit on a PLE because he seems not to get many opportunities to. And I'm hoping that him having a standout match, one of the best matches of the night, could tell Triple H or anyone to be like, he deserves to be on the PLE no matter what, because he will put a banger match and he will make whoever he's working with have that chemistry. And hey, man, it looked really good. It's better than this BFT, this right here.
Oh, yeah, his little stand-up taunt. Oh man!
Oh yeah, a little bit. You hit you flick it and
and then they stand up. Okay, let's move on from LA Knight here in the United States Championship picture. I want to talk about an interesting gap that we might have. Cody Rhodes. Does he miss Survivor Series?
No.
So he tweeted out his November dates, right? And so here's my logic, all right?
And he always does this too. He tweets out his dates a lot. Yes.
In his November dates, Survivor Series is interestingly missing. It's not there. When I look at his potential match that makes the most sense, it's against who, Sancho?
Kevin Owens?
Kevin Owens. I just don't see it not being Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton at Survivor Series. It has to be that. It has to be that. We didn't even get the match at Crown Jewel.
It was great. Remember, we called it.
We said that was basically an unsanctioned match. Yep, and now I want them to use this brawl to now actually announce an unsanctioned match. This is what they need to do. And they set it up perfectly. Officials are getting hurt. They're destroying the fabric of WWE. We don't want anything to do with this. We don't unsanctioned match. So if that's the logical match at Survivor Series,
it's gonna be unsanctioned rules.
Where does that leave Cody? I think he misses Survivor Series, bro. Who else? Who else? Who else that won't feel like
AJ's hurt.
Who else that won't feel like a filler feud?
Wyatt 6 are kidnapping people.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, dude, it's difficult to say because you tied up two of Cody's potential opponents in one feud.
Yep.
I mean, you could do a triple threat. You could have Cody be the referee.
Oh, that'd be, you know what? That'd be interesting, right? No referee. I think, Sancho. I think you hit it. Because it's look at the damage that they cost to officials. They hurt referees. No referee wants to touch this. This is unsanctioned. The game says, okay. That's perfect, right? Like have Cody Rhodes be the guy that steps in when no ref will want to touch this. No official wants to touch this. Make it unsanctioned. Cody Rhodes is special guest referee. Oh man, Sancho, you kind of kicked ass with that prediction. I'm kind of upset that I didn't make, because I just made my predicting Survivor Series card video.
Oh, you're ready to be on the Mega Train? Yeah,
no, this is not Mega Train material. Speaking of trains, I don't want to leave this topic, but speaking of trains, I think that I am allowed on the Wyatt 6 and Miz feud. All right, you want to know why?
Because Bo Dallas said it wasn't about the final testament.
It wasn't about the final testament. It was never the same train, Sancho. It's a different train. You have no argument here. It's been canonized that it was a different train all along.
Oh my goodness, dude. What a creepy video. Very Dark Knighty, huh? Very what you gotta do, huh? Very freaky.
It's like when you had like the fake Batman.
Yeah. He was like,
audio listeners are freaked out right now.
Dude, it was scary and it was gruesome in a weird way. And it was not safe for TikTok. That's for sure. I did not post it.
I didn't post it on TikTok either.
Immediately, as soon as I saw him taped up and his eyes bulging, not the best actor, but still doing his best. I sat there. I was like, "Oh, TikTok gonna flag this one if I post it." Because for those who don't know, the machine does not understand that it's performance art. But we'll get back to that before we leave here. We're going to talk about Cody Rhodes. I think the Cody Rhodes and Gunther match was fun because it's a throwback match, very Bret Hardy match. Very Bret Hart doing the technical things. And I think what I said is they needed to build up Cody to be a technical wrestler so that if he did face someone like a Brock Lesnar again, or he had to overcome someone of that strength like a Braun Breaker or whatever, he would have the ability to beat them with his technical prowess because he beat the Rune General Gunther. And people were like, well, Gunther needed that win. I was like, no, not exactly, because Gunther would just didn't walk around thinking he's the best wrestler, and he already does think that. He doesn't need to have a crown jewel ring to prove that. And the Saudis love Cody. So it's not going to, you know what I mean? There's so many variables in it. But in a wrestling standpoint, Cody winning with a Bret Hart type finish, I didn't see a problem with it. I thought the match was good, you know?
Sure.
It was serviceable. It was
I
exciting.
will say,
yes.
I will say this. There are people that I feel like are being a little bit too pie in the sky with it. No, I'm going to go the opposite, being too pie in the sky with it by saying that like this was the best way for Gunther to lose. Now it's a win-win.
Win-win.
It's not a win-win. Gunther still lost. He's still now the secondary champion. I don't care which way you try to pitch this to me. He lost. He is the secondary champion of the WWE. He is far less scarier that he has lost.
Honestly, dude, I didn't think of that.
I did.
That never crossed my mind because like,
how can it not? He lost. He lost.
I know, but
not only did he lose, sorry to cut you off, Sancho. Not only did he lose, he lost in a technical way when that's his whole thing. That's his whole thing.
I think for me, the reason why I didn't see it that way is because I think both storylines are so engrossing with the belts that I think they're just story A and story B. I didn't see them in that way because
Cody Rhodes, story A, Gunther, story B.
But it's always been that way though.
But now it's for sure that way. Now there is no definitive. There's no discussion. And here's the thing. I'm not saying Gunther is buried. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just telling you he's the secondary champion for sure now.
My question for you, let's just paint another scenario.
Sure.
Right? We love fantasy.
What?
If they had an IC title versus United States title, and let's say the United States title beat the IC title, would you ever say that the United States title is more than the IC title?
That's very fair. I would not say that.
So if the heavyweight champion beat the undisputed champion, whether clean or not, would the undisputed champion be a lesser of the heavyweight?
That's a great point. I would say no. I totally get where you're coming from here.
And then the fifth rest, Your Honor.
I do declare. And you know what? I think it might be a notion of, and maybe try to follow my train of thought, is that we always knew that the World Heavyweight Championship was the secondary title, but now we know. So it would have been interesting and neat.
Did we know?
We knew. Roman called it the loser's belt, the loser's title. I think it would have just been an interesting, not even like role reversal, because it would have been like the little brother winning, right? Winning the fight against the big brother. I don't think that it would have made the big brother, any weaker or anything like that, or it would have diminished the undisputed. It just would have helped elevate the world heavyweight title and the world heavyweight champion to the level of Cody Rhodes. It wouldn't have made him better, but him losing to Cody Rhodes is a quick reminder you're not Cody Rhodes.
I disagree because the follow-up of Monday Night Raw, the amount of characters, the superstars that are after that heavyweight belt and how much it's worth it to them, still put that belt in high regard. Like Roman and Cody are in a different stratosphere. It feels like it's make-believe for them because everything about the undisputed belt has nothing to do with wrestling in terms of who's the better wrestler between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. It doesn't have nothing to do with that. The heavyweight title, that is a wrestling belt. That one where it does matter who's the best wrestler.
Yeah, so I appreciate your optimism because, I get it that I'm being a bit of a downer on this.
No. You have every right to be. My question for you is, does this change? God, when he flexes, the blood leaves his head and leaves the other head and goes into his arms, and everything just goes. What was that one guy that had like the gunshots every time he flexed? It was a YouTuber. He was like,
oh my goodness. Oh my, you just unlocked a part of my brain, bro. That is Dom Mazzetti.
Yeah, that's what I think of.
Dom Mazzetti, bro. That's who I used to watch when I started lifting. That's Dom Mazzetti.
There you go.
Bro Science was the name of the channel. Bro Science.
God, YouTube. Interesting cat. So the thing I want to say is I find it interesting that I feel that we're never going to give Cody a fair shake, brother. It's never going to be that. There's always going to be a camp of not saying you're Cody hating, no sir, not saying that at all, not saying that the slightest. What I'm saying is that the general population seems to be, no matter what, every Cody match, everything that every promo he says, the way he holds the belt, the way that he dresses, the way he walks out, the wet tattoo he has, the things he says, all that is always going to be under judgment of Roman Reigns. It's like insane. He's a different champion. Have you ever felt this kind of weight and magnitude for someone that it was the next champion? Like,
No.
you've seen a lot of John Cena championships come and go. Has anyone
Never.
felt this weight? That's what's bizarre to
Never.
me, right?
Yeah. The
Like,
weight
even in
of
the-
Cody's championship reign is insane. I've never seen anybody be held to higher scrutiny than Cody Rhodes.
Like, dude, I've watched plenty of times Stone Cold lose the belt. I've never felt like the weight of the Rock carrying the heavy. Like, it never felt like that much weight for, or even when Bob Backlund lost to Kevin Nash, I never felt like Kevin Nash had the weight of Bob Backlund. You know, like those kind of things. I never felt Mankind felt the weight of it. The only time I probably did was Mankind, because Mankind was so hated by Vince.
Bro, I
Like,
didn't even feel it for Jinder I didn't even feel the weight for Jinder.
Or for Brock, right? It didn't feel like there was like this big weight, or even when
Nothing.
AJ won the title, there was not this big weight. I think the only time I did feel the weight of someone winning was the Universal title, because that felt like it was a big deal, and it was Finn Balor, and then he gets hurt, and then it's kind of like all that gas went to Finn Balor, and that dropped out quickly in terms of weight. But I've never felt this way.
Do you
about
think
any champion?
the weight? Why is the weight there? So is it because of how good Roman was as a champion, or how much fuel and how much time and effort was put into making Cody Rhodes the champion?
Oh, good question. I think it's because I'm going to take a cheating answer here, a cheat
Sure.
answer, so to speak. It's the rise of wrestling throughout the entire Roman reign.
That's a difficult sentence.
I know. But because wrestling started off at this kind of level where it was like getting cool again, and where, you know, AEW was kind of doing its thing, and AEW was challenging, and then you felt this big momentum shift of, hey, AEW is doing stuff with CM Punk. And then when Cody Rhodes left AEW and came back to WWE, like, wait a minute, now the WWE is shifting. And then when Vince leaving Triple H, like, wait a minute, now the WWE is growing again. Wait a minute, Roman Reigns is this guy who's been champion, has this bloodline family that goes back, and he's really cool, and he has this aura, and everyone loves like cheering him, and he's this heel, but no matter what, he's still awesome. Like, all that magnified up completely. It raised to this level of now when Cody and adding to the story of the dad, and finish the story and all that, build up to 39, and it didn't work out, and then they had to rebuild it up again to 40, and then you throw in The Rock adding a nuclear bomb into that entire storyline and going heel. All that, it had the Undertaker, John Cena. That's the buildup that I think that.
Yeah, it's a big
created all the
investment.
weight.
It's a big investment to the moment, and now he has to carry the weight of the investment that was made. So the reason I ask this is because I just don't feel like, let's just say Seth Rollins, right? Let's say Seth Rollins had won the Royal Rumble going into Mania 40. And Seth wins the Rumble. Quick 3-month build. He beats Roman. He's the champion. I don't think that Seth Rollins is carrying around the same weight that Cody's leading right now, because a 3-month investment pales in comparison to the years of investment and multiple attempts that they did at, you know, him winning the Rumble multiple times with Cody Rhodes. It was like two, instead of like just a traditional Rumble to Mania worth of investment, 3 months, it was years, literal years of investment in the Cody Rhodes story and him finishing his story. That's where I think the weight comes, not necessarily just following up Roman.
So you don't think? I think The Rock literally added the biggest weight to it, because this idea of the Cody hijacking the main event, The Rock having to turn heel, I think that added so much.
Big time.
Because we have to remember, like, we were starting that podcast, and we were like kind of living through that chaos of what is happening?
Dude, what a time!
What is like,
what a time! Dude, I can't wait to tell my kids about it.
Like the idea of like, I know we keep rehashing it, but the idea of the biggest superstar in the world sacrificing his popularity for the Cody Rhodes story, like that's where it all comes down to. The Rock saying, "All right, I was wrong, but it was my idea to be wrong about this entire thing. Let's make it this saga, and it's still developing." Do you think Roman, and I probably will ask this a million times until we get this match again, do you think Roman wins the title from Cody, or does Roman win the title from The Rock?
I think Roman wins the title from The Rock. I really think that The Rock is going to beat Cody. I think it's going to happen.
Dude, that would make him the biggest heel in the business.
I know, but hey, look, The Rock is a businessman, tit for tat. He did it for Cody. I think it's eventually The Rock is the IRS, man. He's going to come knocking and he's going to ask for his back at some point.
I'm going to have to say this though, and mark this down, timestamp it. How The Rock wins is going to be the most important thing of this entire story. If The Rock has an equivalent of a finger poke of doom, if The Rock has the equivalent of a cattle prawn to ending Goldberg streak, that kind of stuff, it is going to be dangerous. Now, if he wins outright and still gets booed out of the building, that's fine. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's good heat. That's correct heat.
Yeah, that's correct heat. But if he wins by like, I don't know, Jacob Fatu, Roman, everybody hitting Cody, and then he comes in and puts his foot on Cody, that type of stuff, and just says like, hey, all this crap that you went through for 3 years doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock is the final boss, right? It doesn't matter. The Rock's the final boss. He needs to. I'd rather have it to where The Rock has to go to the brink of killing himself to beat Cody to get the job done. Like, and that's where it needs to be.
I have trust that he would do that. We saw it in his match at WrestleMania 40. It was a nearly 1 hour match. So
great match.
Yeah. So I have faith that, you know, when The Rock comes a knocking and he wants to get his win back on Cody, and I'm certain he will want to get his win back. It's The Rock, bro. He's gonna want his win back.
I could hear this conversation, The Rock going, you know what, Cody, I'm gonna put you over at WrestleMania 40, but I'm gonna come back and get the belt. Because think about the career that Cody has had ever since being a champion. He's appearing on everywhere. He's on talk shows. He is on YouTube shows. He's doing Hot One type of shows. He's everywhere. And now he's the face of the company. He's on the John Cena schedule. But who gave it to him in The Rock's mind? Remember, it was his idea. The Rock.
Oh, dude. Oh, you're making a deal with the devil. He eventually comes a knocking, right? Yeah.
You think you heard Dustin's contract's up?
No, I didn't know that.
Coming up.
Ooh. Dude, you know, when you were listing all the stuff that's happened that's made WWE so popular, is Cody Rhodes like the luckiest dude ever in terms of the timing that he decided to join WWE? Because holy smokes, it's like, it's to the point where it's like you can almost pinpoint the day that WWE started rising, which was the day Cody joined WWE, like rejoined it. Like WrestleMania 38 is I think what's going to be seen once the smoke settles of this decade, what's going to be seen as the start of this renaissance of professional wrestling. Even though Vince was still in charge at the time, I think it's Mania 38. So it's either Cody is the catalyst of the change, or Cody is the luckiest mother effer ever. and he joined on the boat at the perfect time.
I became a big Cody fan after the torn pec.
Me too. Me too.
I was like, hell yeah, that's Cody Rhodes. That's a Rhodes in that ring with a big bruise. You went, wow. You're like, oh,
dude, that was good. That won me over as well. I was a big Cody detractor before that. I'll be honest. He was not working for me.
Because I was buying into the hype, or I was buying into what AEW fans were telling me. Like, oh, he didn't want to be champion. He was doing promos that no one wanted to listen to. His matches weren't that great. He was cutting cutting himself every match almost. And I was like, oh, well, I guess he's cool. You know, what I was buying into the initial hype for the last thing about Cody was like, it is an AEW superstar coming back with his gimmick, his song, his everything. And Vince McMahon let this guy, not Vince's idea, come into WrestleMania to beat the Golden Boy, Seth Rollins. Like that to me I was buying into at that time, not Cody Rhodes itself.
All right, let's move over to Gunther real quick. We just had Damian Priest rob Dirty Dominic Mysterio of the #1 contendership.
Robbed them blind.
Thoughts on Damian Priest getting another crack? Let's talk about that, because I think look, obviously I put on a character about the Dominic. He's the forbidden fruit. I get it. But Damian, I think, is the right call here. I think
it though? Last week you had this great fantasy. You were like, let me tell you a story of Dirty Dom being the champion. He's the first champion
I still believe
want
that.
To see lose, and we want all this glorious things. And I bought into it. I started drinking the Dom Kool-Aid, started thinking about tendies and ranch.
I'm still on that board. No.
No, you're not. You need to pick a side.
No. Look, listen. Look here, listen. All right. It's going to happen eventually. Dude, the amount of drama that I felt watching Raw and any semblance of Dominic actually potentially winning it had me on the edge of my seat. And I just know that just from seeing that and the adrenaline in my soul that was pumping through my veins, seeing Dominic potentially being able to steal this from 3 probably Hall of Famers. Dude, it would have been crazy. So I know that there is value there. If I'm feeling something from professional wrestling, there is value in revisiting that thing. It's just that Damian has that window where he still feels like a main eventer right now because he's still pretty shortly removed from his recent main event run as a world champion. And the match at SummerSlam was really good. There's plenty of reason to revisit it. That's why I think that's the right choice. But my big takeaway from that was actually getting even more sold in the idea as to what the roller coaster of emotion that it would be if Dominic actually wins the World Heavyweight Championship. Because not only was there no belief from like the wider audience, but from the wrestlers, everyone putting him down.
Commentary.
Dude, I think there's some magic there of him fatal 4-way a la how Ethan Page won, fainting on top of the guy that he pins. You could do some magic. I still fully believe in it.
We've always said NXT is the grounds of experimentation for the main roster. I mean, that is a perfect way to have that over to get the win. I just feel like, how long do we have until the Dom? Is the Dom love ever going to fade? Is this it? Is this the Dom? Is my question for you? This? It's kind of like his meter got built up. Is he going to stay on this level or he's going to dip back down? I think he's past the threshold where if he does dip, he's still going to stay up. Does that make sense? He's not going to.
Buddy, we're not even at that. It's still building. I'm still building on. Dude, I thought I hit like the peak of like how much I like Dominic, but seeing him like trying to bide his time and like hiding from Bronson Reed, waiting for Bronson to do all the damage. I was like, this is the champion that I want to see. This coward, this guy that's only picking and choosing his battles in the right moments. I was put into a time warp where I was seeing a champion Dominic doing this, and I loved it. I'm now even more over on the idea of Dominic Mysterio as a world champion. There's magic there that I don't think anyone aside from Dominic Mysterio can provide.
You remember that moment where Gunther's looking at Judgment Day with Imperium? They're looking at that face off.
Yeah.
And he's like, which one of you is going to step up to me? And Dom stood up and stared right at him. And we're going to see a new side of Dominic Mysterio, man. The edge that we're looking for. The angry. Fire. At least when he fights, when he stands up to Gunther.
Okay.
He's going to show that he's not afraid. He's going to take chops. And then they rip Dom's shirt. They're going to rip it open. And they're going to bust his vessels open. And you're going to be like, dang, Dom's going to lose. And then he's going to cheat his way to a win. And he's going to be like that Eddie. You know that moment where Eddie untied his boot?
Oh, against Kurt?
Yeah. And then he just, the boot, and then he get the ankle. I think Dom is going to outsmart Gunther a little bit. Not in a sense to make him be a face. He's just going to outsmart him like a heel would. And we, the wrestling nerds, we're going to love it because like, oh, Dom. But the rest of the people are going to hate on him.
We want that. We want
I love that. I love a man who speaks Spanish to a Saudi crowd.
Déjenme hablar.
I was like, Tom, what are you doing?
Oh, man. Sacha, do me a favor. Talk about the Miz's kidnapping for 30 seconds. I'll be right back. I'm just hearing a couple things.
Oh, it is late night, folks. It is thundering here in good old Austin, Texas. But things that go spooky and bump in the night is what we're expecting is literally, at the time of this recording, it is November 4th. And we got a spooky segment for the Wyatt 6. Now, we already talked about a little bit where the Wyatt 6 did a Dark Knight recreation where the Miz is literally kicked out. And if you were wondering where did the hell did this happen, it happened earlier in the show, in like last week offline on Twitter, where they had Dexter Lumis, which was very scary when they did in the actual clip where Dexter Lumis came out of nowhere. Scary stuff. But he took him in the tour bus when Xavier Woods and Kofi were having an argument. And very, very interesting argument as well that Kofi and Xavier were having before this. Remember, the Mega Train, the New Day train, the Karrion Kross train, the Wyatt 6 train is still running strong. And Santi's not allowed. He could let him pretend that he's on his little train. You know, let him pretend that he has his little toot. He's like, eh. Let him pretend all that. It's still the same train. So Xavier Woods, Kofi having this argument, and Xavier Woods seeing it from his point of view, and Kofi's like, wait a minute, it feels like you're lying. I enjoying that because even on Xavier Woods posted on his Twitter that, hey, I made this play of that I blind tagged you in because on Monday Night Raw, Kofi was going for Trouble in Paradise, Xavier blind tagged in, and then instead of going for the move, Kofi was confused, and then it caused them to lose. Whereas Xavier posted a actual clip, Santi, of Xavier doing the blind tag Trouble in Paradise into the elbow for the win against the Usos. He's like, that's what I was trying to redo. Anyway, that segment, I feel like of the kidnapping of the Miz is very much what we're going to get at Netflix of crossing the line or towing the line of intensity. Like I mentioned, remember this, Santi, when I mentioned Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Of course.
Remember when I mentioned? Okay. I hope you do. I mentioned Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it's a game where you can create intense rides, and you get a score based on the intensity. Now, there's ways to manipulate the game where you could create intensity without having these crazy loop-de-loops and crazy wooden roller coasters, and you could still get a high score intensity. And I think that's what the WWE is doing here. They are creating a high sense of intensity without blood, without gore, without foul language, and having the Miz kidnapped with no kind of foul language or no kind of threats in any kind of way. Still very high level of language and syntax, things that sort from both.
Very implied danger.
Very implied danger. Very like poetic danger, so to speak, of him saying like he's been all along, brother. That kind of stuff. I think that the WWE is experimenting to see what they can get away with and how far they can go, because Miz wasn't bloodied. He didn't have a black eye. He wasn't tortured in any way. He was still very clean. And so the scariest part of that whole thing was Uncle Howdy's demeanor, but was Dexter Lumis coming out of the shadows, snatching him up. And I'm just hoping, in terms of my reaction to that, was a great segment. I'm just hoping that they don't make Miz some kind of zombie character.
Yeah, I don't think so. You know what was neat though?
It could happen that way. Yes.
I completely forgot about the past that Bo Dallas and the Miz had until that moment where they showed the Miz abusing Bo Dallas and Kurt Axel as part of the Miz Tourage and the B team or whatever. I entirely forgot that there was any sort of connection there. And I don't know how I didn't connect those dots until they literally put the dots in front of me. I guess the only thing, like, I like the segment. I'm interested. It's just that and this is a non-problem. This is totally just a me thing. I'm having a tough time seeing where it goes because I haven't really seen a wrestling program like this. I don't know what the next step is. Like, what is it? A match between Bo and the Miz because he's already been kidnapped.
Kidnapping has happened before in wrestling.
Sure.
I mean, you have to think about this. The reason why you're having issues seeing it, it's the good guy kidnapping the Miz.
Oh, that's totally it. That's right? Totally it.
It is kind of like it's the good guy being intimidating. He's scared. The Miz is scared as a heel. Typically, if a heel is kind of captured, the heel would still be of a type of badass. Like, imagine if Braun Breaker was in this situation. Would Braun Breaker be scared of being kidnapped? No, he would continue to being a badass, right? Because that's what he does. But I think on top of that, there has been storylines where it's kind of crossed into this realm of like, all right, when is the authorities going to get involved, right? I know it's a kayfabe weird thing to ask, but like it reminds me of DDP being a stalker and stalking Stephanie or stalking Sarah. I'm sorry, the Undertaker's wife. There's a moment where you're just like, where is this going to go? And for a stalking case to end in the ring seems bizarre, right? It's like, why would you settle it in the ring? If you're some man stalking your wife, why have the Undertaker settle in the ring and then the stalker goes away? So what does this mean? Bo Dallas kidnaps The Miz and they have a match, like you said, for his soul. That's why I've always felt like there is a underlying problem of the Wyatts. How do they rid you of their problem that they see? How do they get the revenge? It can't be a 1-2-3 pin. They have to have some kind of ritualistic thing that they do to you to absolve your issues that they see a problem with you. Like, I was hoping Chad Gable would be resolved and changed, but he hasn't. He's gotten worse. He's doubled down, and now he's American made. So what is it going to happen to The Miz? All The Miz did was turn on R-Truth, who, frankly, R-Truth was ignoring his requests and putting him in very bad matches. But like you said, it is not an R-Truth problem that Bo has. It is the B-team problem that he has. And that's a deep cut. If you didn't know it, who else knew it? That was a deep cut.
Yeah, it really was. It was not. I remember the B-team just once it got brought up to me. But I never thought that they were going to go down that route. Either way, doesn't this feel a month too late? How much better this would have been in October?
I said that when you walked away. I was like, it's November 4th.
Yeah, a little too late.
A little too late for the shenanigans, the spookiness. You ever seen the trailer for Thanksgiving, the Eli Roth faux trailer for Grindhouse? And the Thanksgiving guy's a slasher.
I've seen the Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah, there's a movie, but before that,
okay.
It was a fake trailer for a Grindhouse movie for Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. And the trailer itself is amazing. So they built the movie off of that fake trailer into a real movie.
Oh, that was a trailer in Grindhouse?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, Grindhouse. That's another memory you just unlocked.
Planet Terror and Death Race?
Yeah. I love Planet Terror. Planet Terror. That's where Baron Corbin and Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell seem to have been sent to. They have been... You didn't like that transition?
No, it's awful. Just because you get released from WWE is means at the end of the world.
Planet Terror.
I think Baron Corbin, it's a shame. I love Baron Corbin. I loved his moveset when he came back. I love the Lone Wolf, Deep Six, End of Days. Such good stuff. He is embedded in a lot of major moments of this era or the previous era. You know, End of Days to Becky Lynch. All the Happy Corbin and Drew McIntyre kicking out of his End of Days. Like, there's so many things.
Retirement of Kurt Angle.
There's so much stuff that it feels like he could have been a wrestler that you just kept on the roster because out of legacy, right? He did everything you asked. He changed his gimmicks. The dude went to bum ass Corbin. Like, come on, dude. This dude's a soldier, right? He went through it. He is from your development. He's had success. He's carried championships. But for him to go out with no retirement either tells me that he's shifting gears and going to somewhere else, or he's just tired of sitting on the shelf and he wants to be active. I love his cooking stuff. You see, and in socials, he loves the barbecue, loves the grill. So maybe he's pursuing that. We don't know, but it's a bummer that he went out the way he does. And that's my only downfall of the Triple H era is if you're on your way out, either you do a job for someone or we get to say goodbye to you. And we didn't get to say goodbye to Baron.
He did not get to say goodbye. That's very true. We didn't get to say goodbye to Bobby Lashley, who just recently debuted in AEW. Right. Yeah, there's definitely there's recent examples of that where they just sort of disappear until they're gone, right?
Yeah.
And that
at least job out so we say goodbye to you. We understand that you're leaving.
With Indy Hartwell, it was weird. That one's weird.
It was weird, bro. She let go, and then on the pre-tape, then she's on the Friday night.
Yeah, you couldn't have waited till Sunday. Like you gotta. To be fair, though, the news didn't break out officially from WWE. It was Sean Ross Sapp got the news out, which is apparently like a pretty common thing. I had read. It was Dijak. He had posted saying that when there were rumblings of people being released, everybody wouldn't wait for the call. They would just refresh Sean Ross Sapp's Twitter page because he would break the news before anybody got it. And that seems to have been the case this time around as well. I think that's this is not me talking trash about Sean Ross Sapp. I love the guy. I consider him like a good dude. It would be so shitty to find out that that's how you lose your job, though. From a Twitter reveal from somebody that doesn't even work for the company. That sucks.
I know Indy was joking that she knew that she was like, oh, she went, wait, what? As a joke. People deal with very bad news in different ways. And I think Tegan Knox was kind of understandable because of her injuries. Get that. Still a bummer to see, but I think Indy's probably the most interesting case. No, I think Baron Corbin's the most interesting case, but Indy, I feel, like I said, did what she needed. It was an NXT champion, right?
Yeah, NXT Women's Champion, yeah.
And that's what I mean. It feels weird for WWE to release people that have legacy, that are former champions. It's kind of strange to me because I think I understand, like when Bronson Reed got released, I was like, okay, I get it. I mean, he had his shot and it didn't work out. He will find somewhere else. I mean, we had on Match Club his match between him and Jacob Fatu during his hiatus from the WWE. But I think at the end of the day, and we're seeing it with Dijak, he's doing really well in the indies and he's finding success. We saw it with Matt Cardova when he's finding the success. It's not the end of the road. And there's TNA and then there's other promotions like AEW that they could go to. I mean, Ricochet showed up in New Japan recently, so he's doing well after being not re-signed.
So it's not Planet Terror for everybody.
No, it's not Planet Terror. I just hoping that Baron Corbin gets something that he like. Clearly, he does love cooking. So I'm like I said, the dude's a really good grill master. I'm excited to see that, and I think this is a sign, and anybody's out there, that you need to have a side hustle. A side hustle is the best thing for you to do. If you're working a 9-to-5, work hard to get a side hustle. This is what helped me out get from my terrible digital media job. I had a side hustle. Side hustle sets you free. And I'm sure Baron Corbin's kind of bummed out, no pun intended, about losing being a WWE champ.
I'm sorry, that was a really good pun.
The WWE superstar, but at least he has cooking to fall back on and his social media. And they have the ability to propel themselves. I don't know, man. They say that this is not the first ending of the releases, and this is the time of year where people do get released.
I'm scared for Omos and Nakamura.
Well, the thing about the 2-hour Raw is it probably puts a lot of strengths. I mean, you're losing an hour of money. An hour you could be making money.
Facts on facts.
And you got to be lean for Netflix, man. Maybe they got to be lean. Maybe they got to shed some weight, because once it goes to Netflix, it's the big stars, dude, are coming back, and they're not going to have room for these, the smaller stories. You're going to have John Cena's going to dominate a whole year of programming.
Dude, did you see
A
that
whole year.
Netflix wants John
They
Cena,
want everybody.
CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes all on Monday Night Raw? It seems like we're about to once again become the A show, baby. Thank you, Netflix. I need you to just run SmackDown out of town. Bring everybody over to Monday Night Raw so that I can once again become your A reviewer over on patreon.com/Santi's app, where we review every episode of Raw and SmackDown. I review Raw, Sancho reviews SmackDown, and there's so much more over on Patreon.
So much more. We have over 100 Match Club matches.
Over 100. Over 100.
Over 100.
That's a lot. That's a lot of Match Club.
All promotions, brother. Not just one.
Shall we get to new heat order?
Yes, we shall get to
Wait. You didn't.
What?
Let me set you up for it. I wonder, what's going through John Cena's mind. You know, there's a lot of things that this man still has to say during his retirement tour.
Let's see.
And I'm just so curious if there's anything in specific that John Cena needs to tell us, his adoring fan base.
Let us take a look at John Cena, a forum of thoughts and perspectives designed to ignite conversations. Twitter. Be kind to yourself isn't about ignoring your weaknesses. It's about giving yourself permission to learn from your disappointments.
Damn. That one resonated. Damn. That's good. That one's good.
Such a nerd.
New heat order. What is that?
Who is John Cena going to beat for his record-breaking title?
Gunther.
Or
Dom. It'd be if Dom is world champion by then.
Let me see. Let me find the list. We've been under budget. This is the previous list, and this is what happens when you give me too much power, Santi. Number 10, Goldberg. Number 9, Randy Orton. Number 8, Dominic Mysterio. Number 7, Jimmy Uso. And this is close to midnight, 1 a.m. Santi's time, so he's a little tired, little old man. Number 7, Jimmy Uso. Number 6, Solo Sikoa. Number 5, Sami Zayn. Number 4, Bronson Reed. Number 3, Seth Rollins. Number 2, Motor City Machine Guns. And number 1, Jay Uso. Hey, Motor City Machine Guns going against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller soon. And Street Profits, Montez Ford, saying he's upset of where these current runnings are. But I think that's more buying into the possible heel friction.
I like it.
But I think, again, Street Profits heel did not work because of Bobby Lashley.
That's true. That's true. Because Bobby's just was at that moment, he's just too respected, too loved, too respected.
Bobby was doing like the baby face taunts of like, Bobby, bro. He's kind of clapping hands. Like, what, Bobby? What are you doing, Bobby? And especially when he was wrestling in front of the troops, which is understandable.
And last talking point before we get to this, Goldberg announcing Bill announcing he will have his retirement match in 2025.
Did you see what Nick Namath said? I gotta
no.
I have to read this. This is very important. So yes, Goldberg announced that he's going to retire in 2025. And everyone says it's going to be Gunther, right? Nick Namath wrote, when that was announced, let me find this. What is this music? Still the TNA champion, mind you, right? Nick Namath still cooking, correct?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. He tweets a lot. Good Lord. When was Crown Jewel? The second?
Saturday, 4th, 2nd. 4th, 3rd.
He says, Dave Meltzer wrote, Goldberg just announced a retirement match taking place in 2025 in WWE. Nick Namath quote tweeted, on the bell, he spears and jackknives Gunther. G kicks out at 1, 3-minute match, and good effing riddance.
Oh my God. Damn.
And then he said, or it could be the Steiner kid, relax.
Oh, he's a comedian. He actually is. So he's just being a funny dude.
Question before we get a new heat order. Quick question. Undertaker's coming to town December 13th in Austin, Texas for his one-man show. Should I go?
Go.
They were like, the watch party was like, yeah, dude, you should go do a review for Patreon. I'm like,
Oh
don't
God.
put the Patreon on this.
Yeah.
Don't put the Patreon in this. I don't want to hear the Taker just talk about the old times. Saunter around the ring. I don't want that.
No.
No.
Number one, Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn?
Sami Zayn.
I was gonna put Bronson Reed. Dude.
Nah, bro,
Number
it's
two Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I'll give you two.
How about two? Okay, Sammy, Jay, Roman, Bronson Reed.
No Jimmy?
No, I didn't like his promo.
No, okay.
It's like Jimmy. You could clearly see that he did not mean to do that.
That's so funny you said that. I said the same thing
Right.
where I was like, obviously it was either he's like the greatest sharpshooter of all time.
Yeah, I know.
Or that was obviously not on purpose.
I know. Jimmy came in too hot in that promo, right? He came in a little too hot. So one, Sami Zayn.
Sammy, J, Roman, Bronson, right?
Yeah. Did you see how Sammy walked out like Hogan at the beach? Just walked out.
Oh, you didn't know
he was gonna help.
You think that's what they were trying to emulate?
Yeah. And then you're gonna walk out like Hogan, Sammy Hogan. Jey Uso. 3, Roman. Just because I want to see what Roman says.
Okay.
About it. Does that make sense? Like,
sure. I hear you.
I am tuning in on Friday to see what Roman says. Number 4, Bronson Reed. You know what I want to put at 5?
Who?
Liv Morgan.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, Liv had such a great moment this weekend.
Great emotional moment and a great promo on Monday Night Raw. And she adopted the cat. Did you hear about that story?
No, I didn't. Was there a stray cat in Saudi?
Post show, she said she adopted a cat and Dom was feeding it and taking care of it. And then she was trying to find a way to get it. And guess who showed up on Monday Night Raw at the very beginning while they're all walking in?
Was it the cat?
Who was holding the cat?
Dominic Mysterio. Of course he was. Yep. He got it done for his missus.
Hell yeah, dude. That's how you do it, brother. Dude, Dominic, please reach out and be like a chicken tender spokesman somewhere. I don't care. I would buy your Dominic Mysterio order 100%.
100%. 1,000,000%. Yes.
100%. With a little plastic cup of Dominic Mysterio's face on it.
Oh, hilarious. Love it.
Yes,
love it.
Yes.
We're selling. We're pitching here.
All right, number 6. Anyone you think?
I would say Kevin Owens and Randy back to back.
Okay, I'll put Kevin because Kevin Owens' insane elbow drop. I like how they took Randy Orton not on a stretcher, but like on one of those little football carts. But they didn't really like put him in a stretcher. They put a towel down on the stretcher. They took him out. Number 8. I think Piper had a good showing. We didn't talk about the Fatal 4. We didn't talk about Chelsea. They did a great job. Well, the Meta Girls were great.
Yeah, they were great.
Last Legend was great.
Io Sky.
Yes.
Great. She was great in the Saudi match and number 1 contender.
Dude, what would they say? The pop off of an Io Sky win is so good. It's electric. All right, Io Sky number. Okay, that leaves 9 and 10, brother. This list is jam packed. No love for Nia. I think Tiffy's SmackDown moment was fun, but I didn't like her like what she did at Crown Jewel.
No, it wasn't good.
It was just a waste of
time. She's slowly turning into the buffoon that Damien was becoming.
I know, but the difference is like Damien's not losing. Like Damien cost his team matches, and maybe they're doing that with Nia, I guess. But it's not like a direct.
I think it's a bad look on Tiffy because she has no reason not to.
She could have done it a million times.
A million times.
Cash it in. What are you waiting for? Someone to be like buried underneath a desk or something? Number 9.
LA Knight.
LA Knight should be higher.
No, too late.
Damn.
Too late.
I mean, we did glaze him though. Like,
Yeah, dude, tag team glazing.
we were so close, dude. We were so close. To
glazing from the front, glazing from the back. You get a 360-degree glaze cover.
Why do you say it in that voice? You make it sound like he's like we're at a car wash or something, dude.
With how much glaze it is, it would feel like it's a car wash.
Christ, why do people listen to us? 10, we don't have Dominic Mysterio. We don't have Damian Priest. I think we could put Damian here.
Damian could.
We could put Gunther. Cody, what do we have? Cody Rhodes. Wow.
Seth?
Braun Breaker's been missing. I mean, he did get clowned out on Monday Night Raw, though.
Yeah, but building up that big feud with Bronson. Beat Bronson. Fun promo on Raw. It's Seth. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. I'm talking to you like how Roman would talk to Jay. Tag me in. Come on, tag me in.
Time out. No love for Solo Sikoa?
Oh, it's Solo. Solo should be higher. It's too late, though.
No, it's not too late. Okay, how about this? Solo at 4 and moves everybody down.
I would say so. I think that's fair. Yeah, so we should not have forgotten Solo.
At 3, because then Roman goes down. Now Roman, he goes.
No, I think it's fine. I think Solo at 4. Because Roman had like the whole thing with Sami Zayn.
Well, he wasn't there.
Yeah, he was.
You talking about the thing where he's like in the foreground, sad, looking like Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a big moment.
It was a big moment. Sorry, Seth. All right, your new heat order. And
Seth once again put aside by Roman, by the Bloodline.
And congratulations to Brutus Creed for getting married.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a legit married. Ignore the numbers. At number 10, LA Knight. Number 8, Io Sky. Number 7, Randy Orton. Number 6, Kevin Owens. Number 5, Liv Morgan. Number 4, Bronson Reed. Number 3, Solo Sikoa.
You okay?
Nope. Ignore the numbers. 2, Jey Uso. 1, Sami Zayn. That's
well done.
Order.
All right. Well, folks. Oh, we're at that point of the podcast. If you're still around, you're a super listener. You're a super viewer. Thank you so much for your support. Oh.
No, camera did not freeze. I froze.
You froze in the moment. Folks, again, you could have gotten this episode 3 days earlier than everywhere else over on patreon.com/SantiZap, where you get so much more extra content. You're getting the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, the podcast 3 days early, 5 weekly match watch-alongs, a weekly Royal Rumble watch-along, and the Undertaker streak watch-along. Both of those also have a ranking mechanism as well, where we're trying to figure out the definitive list of best Rumbles and best Undertaker WrestleMania matches. All of that and more over on patreon.com/SantiZap. If you're already a supporter over there, thank you for supporting us. But if you're a $15 producer, not only do we thank you a little bit more, but we also read your name out here at the end of the credits. So an extra special thank you goes out to our producers: Sancho Mania Running Wild, FU Santi on First Now, Nick Harvey, 2022 Benjamin, Aaron Garcia, Aaron Olivia, Akira Kemp. Sorry, hang on. Akira Kemp, Alan Crockett, Anita Maxwin, Asher McYoda, Ashley, Ashton Davis, Asperlitz, Austin Baker, Austin Gregory, Austin Singleton, Austin's Theories Theorist, RIP MadPad, Austin Weaver, Authentic Chocolate, Haley Saunders, Ben Calloway, Barry, Be Hostile, Big Poppy Sasquatch, Brady Keaton, Brandon, Bry Guy, Bryce Burt, Bunker Jonesy Loves WWE, Caleb Lee.
That's a Fortnite reference.
Is that Bunker Jonesy? What is that?
Yeah, Bunker Jonesy's a Fortnite skin from.
Wow. Cool.
Dude. Hey, I'm brain rotting your crowd with Fortnite.
Great.
Someone said, I appreciate your Fortnite references. I'm like, hey, you're welcome.
Oh, no, Peely. I know Peely.
You want to run some little bit of Fortnite one day?
Oh my goodness, absolutely not. Caleb Lee, Cameron Dodd, Cameron Noel, Carlos Gonzalez, CB, Chew Poppy, Chimchars Collectibles, Christian Billick, Christian Royal, CM Puff, Colby Jones, Colin Roach, Connor Williamson. You love CM Puff, don't you?
I did something about it, man.
Danny the Chad GF, Dar, DJ Broadnex, DJS, Dom should have won. Yeah, you get it. Dumbski, Dylan Canna, Eric Theory Gonzalez, Isatch, another week, another Bolt W, Suck It. Ooh, how'd the Cowboys do? Doesn't matter. Losers. Fletcher Walpole, Forever Wrestling, Franklin L. Everett. Yeah, you guys noticed not a lot of Chargers hate from Sancho these days. My 5-3 Chargers. Gamerscape, George Valdez, Gilbert Deans, GXA Man, Heartfelt, Issa David, It's Mista. I'm gonna nut in Santi's protein shake. Jack Gibley, Jacob Pena, Jacob Staffel, Jake Chavoya. James Brian Balago, Jassim Alcazar, Javier Arenas, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele, Jeremy C. Moreau, Jesse, Joe Velez, Jolly Green Giant, Jordan Lynch, Joss B, Joseph Pointer, Josh, Juan Verduzco, Judson Daniels, Justin Perkins, Ken Dean, Casuz, Kuwaiti Rick Boogs, Kyrie Lawrence, Lil Shifu, Liquid Chris, Long Dong Undertaker, Luke Parker, Marnie YCSM, Matt Roddy, Matthew Dollar, Meki, Michael Purnell, Mika Kasi, Mitchell, Muhammad Albanai, Monte Moore, Neb, Nellen Zach, Nicholas Kyle, Raffle, Reaper God, Ricky Dutcher, Royce Ruffo, Riley, Santi Giannetti, and Sancho Michaels. Santi, Sancho, Santi. Santi's gonna nut in Sancho's protein shake.
Oh, God.
Saudi Rick Boogs, already done, buddy. Screamo Scott, Seth, Shaggy WWE, Shane, Shawn Michaels, Raid Nostrils, Sidney Floyd, Spy God.
I've been wondering, what does that mean?
Shawn Michaels, right nostril?
Yeah.
It's just his right nostril, bro.
Oh, okay.
Like the part of the nose.
I got
Sir Nightmare, Slimski, Spicy Nugget, Steven Rhodes, Stone Cold Peach Austin, Stucky, Sugar Shane, Super Malachi Galaxy, SVR's Spoothy, the Autistic Chocolate Syndrome, the final boss, the first Patreon, Crazy Dude. He actually was the first person to subscribe to our Patreon. The Gaming Freak YouTube. It's funny. There's just so many people on the Patreon now that he has to like make sure. No, I was the first. I was the first one. I claimed this. Undertaker's son, TM, Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Trent Head, Two Crown, Tyler Free, Volt Hunter TTV, Juan Pablo III, Wesley Simpson, Javier Izquierdo, Zach Griffin, Zach Butcher, Zergzito, and Lord BBNJ. Thank you all so very much for supporting us in what we do here on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. You guys take care. And as always, be wonderful people. Goodbye.